The Dallas Mavericks are doomed. Let me explain. All right, so basically, I have a few reasons why I don't think the Dallas Mavericks are going to be as good as people think they are, despite having Kyrie and Luka on the team, and I think there's a lot of major red flags with this team that could cause them major problems in the future, and a few of those reasons I want to get into in this video, and the first one is going to be the fact that Luka and Kyrie Irving play extremely similar brands of basketball. And what I mean by that is not exactly are they similar in the point of how they score or how they play, it's kind of just like the methods they use to do what they do are very similar, as they are both extremely ball dominant guards who need the ball in their hands to be good, and neither one of them are that great off the ball. And you see that's a problem because there is only one ball in the game of basketball, meaning you can't have two ball dominant players each have the ball in their hands at the same time. So one of them has to play off ball. And do you think either Kyrie or Luka is going to accept the coach saying, look, you have to play off ball the majority of this game, or you have to play the off ball the majority of this game? Probably not. And I don't know exactly how that's going to work if they both try to stay ball dominant, because the passing isn't going to be the greatest. And I don't think either one of them are going to be willing to accept an off-ball role due to how talented each player is individually. And I just think that is going to be a major cog in the wheel. And it could really cause huge problems, especially if the coach isn't able to give out specific plans for each player and actually get them to buy into a system. Now, if he does manage to make them buy into a system, then maybe it could work. But in my opinion, especially with Kyrie's side of things, I would find it very hard to believe that they're both going to accept roles off ball and take lesser roles with the ball in their hand for the greater sacrifice of the team. I just don't know if Kyrie has that in him, and Luka has never been faced with that decision either. And with him probably being a top 5 talent in the NBA at times, it is going to be very hard to convince him that he should have the ball in his hand less. And then even kind of just away from the basketball standpoint of things, both of them have a rocky history at best, you could say, in the past of having star level teammates. Kyrie Irving is obviously much more publicized, as Kyrie, literally said he didn't want to play with LeBron or be in LeBron's shadow anymore. So that was really the first kind of like resemblance of maybe he doesn't get along with other star players. And then his time in Boston, he had Jason Tatum, Brown, and Gordon Hayward. And Gordon Hayward when he was still like a star level player before he like just shattered his leg. But even then, Kyrie, there was still a lot of distractions and things like that, and he just didn't seem like he fully fit in with that team. So then he went to Brooklyn, and then there were multiple spats. James Harden talked about Kyrie Irving multiple times. There was just multiple distractions among their teammates, and despite all the talent on that roster, Kyrie really never got along with any of them and never stuck with any of them either, which is pretty damn concerning if you think about it. And then Luka Doncic, although he only had really one example of a star-level teammate, and that's Kristaps Porzingis, that also, there were a lot of reports going around that them two didn't get along together. Kristaps didn't like the way Luka played and vice versa. So even he has a little bit of a shaky history with star-level teammates. So now with Kyrie and Luka, that could cause a pretty big problem. They may have clashes right there. And just no telling if they're going to work out personality-wise, play-wise. And I just think their history, along with how they play on the offensive end, could cause main things. And then even on top of that, neither one of them enjoy the defensive side of the basketball, meaning neither one of them are that great. Now, neither one of them I would say are liabilities either, but I definitely wouldn't say they make any defenses better. They make a lot of offenses a lot better, but their defense, they either make them slightly worse or they just stay average, because neither one of them, like I said, are terrible liabilities, but also neither one of them are great defenders that are going to improve your team on that end of the court, at least not right now in their careers. So I would imagine the defensive side of the ball won't be their strong suit for the Mavericks, and if they can't figure out how to play together on offense, that could be a huge problem, because if their offense is dysfunctional and their defense isn't that great, it is going to be very hard to win basketballs at a high level in the NBA. The next thing that I would like to get into is what I like to call the Kyrie Irving effect. And what I mean by that is, if you look at every team he's ever been on, besides Cleveland, they were much worse after he was there than they were before. And you can really go by team and really see the cause and effect of the Kyrie Irving. As in Boston, before he even played a full year with them, they were in the Eastern Conference Finals. They had Isaiah Thomas, who was one of the best stories in all of basketball at the time, and they were just one of the most fun young teams to watch, competing, contending, and they were just a great story all around. The second Kyrie Irving played a full year and was actually healthy for them, they had no real success in the playoffs. There were tons tons of distractions. There were lies. He said he was going to stay there for a long time. He left after his contract was over, and it was just a big old fuss and a big old mess. And Kyrie Irving all around kind of made Boston worse than they were before he got there, because they traded multiple players away, multiple picks away, and they were just all around worse off organization after Kyrie left than they were before he got there. And then if you go to his next team with the Brooklyn Nets, before he got there, if you remember, they were one of the funnest teams to watch in the NBA. Now, they weren't that talented, and they weren't the best talented team, and they probably weren't going to win a championship or anything like that, but they were extremely fun. They had Jared Dudley on the bench. They constantly were dancing on the bench. D'Angelo Russell was an all-star with them, and they were just an all-around extremely fun team to watch. Great story. Jarrett Allen was still very young at the time as well, and they were just all around a very fun, very exciting team to watch, and they really just, you could tell they enjoyed being together and enjoyed playing basketball. But then after Kyrie got there, and now yes, James Harden and Durant did have their hand to play in this, I understand, but a big part was also Kyrie Irving. He barely played with them. They lost tons of picks, tons of their future. They're now a very blurry future going forward with Mikal Bridges as their best player, and on top of that, they basically became the Kardashians of the NBA. They had tons of talent. They were super flashy. Everyone liked to talk about them, but they never were able to put it together due to distractions, due to egos, and other things like that. I mean, there was a point where Kyrie Irving said that they did not need a coach, and they were bashing Steve Nash basically publicly any chance he got. So really, Brooklyn just turned into an absolute shit show, and before they got there, they were at least fun, had a bright future. After he left, their future is bleak. They have no picks, and now they have no superstar level players either. So they are once again a team that was worse off after Kyrie left than before he even got there. And now, even if you look at Dallas, it might already be taking into effect, as before he got there, the Dallas Mavericks made the conference finals. They were one of the better teams in the league. They had tons of chemistry, tons of cohesion. They played with the same core unit of players for a very long time. Luka was looking better and better every single year. He was carrying them through the playoffs. It was just a very good team to watch, and they were just overall a very good basketball team. And after Kyrie got there, they missed the playoffs. Now, it did come from injury, but they missed the playoffs. They lost a lot of their players. They no longer have that chemistry, and there's already been tons of distractions around the team. So once again, the Dallas Mavericks are already looking like a worse organization after he got there than before. Now, at least with Dallas, there's time to kind of make them better depending how this year goes. So it's not completely written in stone, but it is not looking good so far for his tenure with the Dallas Mavericks. And due to past track history, we really have no reason to suspect that he will turn this around. And one of the last things I want to get into is that this roster all around basically has no identity. They're just floating around, really don't know what to do, and like they're kind of just a very questionable team. And what are they going to hang their hat on exactly? Because there's really nothing for them to do. Because for example, like any other contending high-level team, they have something to really hang their hat on. The Warriors, their offensive system is elite, and their chemistry is super high due to how long they've been together. The Denver Nuggets, their chemistry is very high, and their fundamentals are insane, and they just play as a team extremely well. The Phoenix Suns have all the talent that you can ask for in the entire world. They have a solid bench, so at least they have talent they can hang their hat on. And then the Milwaukee Bucks, they have an absolute elite defense. Giannis and Drew Holiday are two of the best defensive players in the league. Brook Lopez is very solid, and they have a ton of other players that are very good on defense as well. So even the Milwaukee Bucks have just something to hang their hat on. But if you look at the Dallas Mavericks, what do they really have? They don't have the most talent, because that's the Suns. And I mean, Luke and Kyrie are extremely talented players, but are they going to work together? We don't really know. Their chemistry isn't that high, even though that used to be the strength of their team. It's now probably one of their biggest weaknesses, because their stars barely have any time playing together. They've had a lot of turnover due to trades. They have a lot less money to work with, so they didn't really sign anyone in free agency. Jason Kidd, I don't think, is the best coach. And all around, I don't think this team has a leader, because who are they going to lead, Kyrie or Luka? Both of them probably want to be the alpha guy in the room, but I mean, who's going to take that mantle? We don't know yet. I don't think Jason Kidd's the coach to bring this very hard situation into fruition of being able to be a contender. And I just think all around, with all these things going into one, is really going to make a recipe for disaster. And I think the Dallas Mavericks are running a very real risk of being a very, very dysfunctional organization going into next season. But unfortunately, guys, that's my first video. So comment below. Do you agree with me? Do you think the Dallas Mavericks could be doomed? Do you think they're in trouble? I want to hear your thoughts in the comment section below. If you like the point, hit the like button and subscribe button. I mean the absolute word to me. And I hope you have a blessed day, because I have a blessed day. So you need a blessed day. All glory to God. See you in the next video. Goodbye. Boo. Blah.